Hi, it's Vex, and today we have another deck tech. That is right, we are going to the Adventures of Forgotten Realm Commander, and we're going to do a deck tech on Prosper Tome-Bound. So usually I like to buy the entire deck, but this time I figured, why spend $35, $40 to buy a deck when I could just spend $10 to buy the important cards, and that's what I did. And yes, I spend money to make these deck techs so you can see these cards in actuality. I wish there's a non-full version sometimes because it's hard to take those thumbnail images with these foily, dark, curly commanders, but it is what it is. Anyways, Prosper Tome-Bound. We have a Rakdos commander, 2 black, red, Death Touch. The only thing black about this thing, and it's a legendary creature. Tiefling. Is this supposed to be Thiefling? Tiefling? I don't know what that means, but if you do know, please tell me what it is. Tiefling Warlock. And Mystic Arcanum, that doesn't do anything, so I'll just ignore that. At the beginning of your end step, exile top card of your library. Until end of your next turn, you may play that card. So it wants you to play cards from exile, because the next part, Pact Boon, which that does nothing. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. I really hate these ability words that do nothing. It drives me nuts because every other ability word in Magic does something or ties something together. This just does nothing. And it's a 1/4. But it's 1/4 Death Touch. It doesn't matter the power. He can kill anything. Okay, so Prosper has essentially 2 themes with him. He wants you to play cards from exile, because anytime you play a card from exile, even a land, because it says play, not cast, right there, you create a treasure token. So there's an incentive to play cards from exile, and he has his own engine of exiling cards at the beginning of the end step, and lets you play it, in the end step or until the next turn. So I built a deck to do that. And if you've seen my channel, watch my videos, you know I love taking my opponent's things. So we exile our top of our deck, and we exile top of our opponent's decks, and then we can play those cards. And anytime we play those cards from exile, we create a treasure token. The way I built this deck is a lot of people are like, oh, treasure, let's put more treasure theme. I think I just slanted the deck towards more of the top deck manipulation theme and have a very slight treasure theme, because I think treasure is secondary. Primary goal is to just play things from exile. You get treasure. You want to stack treasure, play more and more cards from exile, and on and on and on. Okay, so we have our tokens here. Don't forget your treasure tokens, because you'll be making a lot of them here. Always have your tokens. Don't leave home without them, because I think nowadays tokens are very important. I hate people do the back of the cards, because there's so many different types of tokens in a single deck that it just gets super confusing. So always have your token, or at least have the Infi tokens. So let's talk about the top of our deck first, right? And then we'll go to the top of our opponent's deck. The biggest, baddest card is a spell that lets you just play play cards from top of your deck. Is Commune with Lava. If you've seen Game Nights, you've seen this cast for 10. And what Commune with Lava does is it is an instant right here. It is an instant. Hopefully you can see this card. I'm trying a new thing. Just leave it right here, and if you can read it. If you can't, tell me in the comments that you can't read it, but exile top X card of your library until end of next turn. You may play those cards. So there's different wording. Sometimes it says until end of your turn, which is your current turn. End of next turn. So you have to just be aware of when the time restriction on these cards. And then sometimes it says you may cast those cards, which means non-land. And sometimes it says you may play those cards, which is including casting, spells, and playing lands. So you gotta pay attention to that slight wording. But Commune with Lava, most powerful of them all, you can play it at the end of your opponent's end step, play for a bunch of mana, like 10, and then on your turn you have lots of extra cards. Also, the way I've designed this deck is that I actually have a lower CMC, or mana value nowadays, because I'm chaining lots of spells together. I'm playing a spell like Jessica's Will here to exile top card of the deck. And then I want to have enough mana to even play those cards, because sometimes it's only that turn. So the CMC is lowered. And you're like, Vex, how do I kill my opponent? Well, you steal their stuff, kill them with their own Blightsteel Colossuses or whatever. It doesn't matter. You just kill them with their stuff. Your cards are there to rip through your deck, take their stuff, and kill them with their stuff, which is super fun. I love it. Justice Will, Tuna Red. The important part is, I guess it's very important, both of them, because if you have your commander, you play both sides, add 1 red for each card in target opponent's hand, or exile top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. So this is a this turn restriction and play, so you do lands. This card is getting really expensive. It is one of the best cards in Commander Legends. I mean, the best card is, of course, this card, Hole Breacher, but that's banned. That's another day. But this card, if you need to get it now, because it's only going up and up and up and up. If you've ever seen Jessica's Will played, it's insane because it's its own engine. It's kind of like Prosper right here. It generates mana from cards from Exile. So it generates mana so you can cast those cards from Exile. So Jessica's Will is amazing right there. Live to stage. It's a super cheap way right here. And this is, 2 cards, and then to end turn you may play those cards, so even lands. And then if you play the Spectacle cost, it only costs 1 mana, but usually it costs 3 mana value. So we're just going over the spells that let you play things from Exile. And then Ignite the Future, which is pretty sweet. Exile top 3 cards of your library. So this time restriction until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. So play. So remember to read next turn and play, so you see what kind of restrictions there are. If this spell is cast from the graveyard, you may play those. Play this way. You may play cards, this way without paying their mana cost. So if you pay the 8 mana flashback card, you get to play them for free. So there's some cards that let you do that. Like Mizzix's Mastery, it doesn't exile top card of your deck, but it does exile target card that's an instant sorcery from your graveyard. So by exiling the card from your graveyard, it is cast from Exile, and then you may cast it for free. All right, so these are the spells that do the exiling. Now we have cards that have like activated abilities that do the exiling. Because usually when you play these spells, you want to, Mizzix's Mastery cast it for free, but when you play Ignite the Future or Light Up the Stage, you want to be able to just play your cards right away. But here, you can decide when you want to activate. You might want to wait till Prosper gets on the battlefield. Like, for instance, you play this on turn 2, you don't activate Magmatic Channeler. Important part is discard a card, exile 2 cards from your library. Choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. So you can just activate it whenever you just tap it whenever you feel like tapping it. You don't have to tap it. You don't have to play it right away when the spell. Brea's Apprentice, new card from Modern Horizons 2, super sweet. It's kind of funny, like usually when I build decks, I know what most of the cards do all the time, but here I had to shuffle it up, goldfish, and figure out how these cards work because there's so many different new cards. It's really cool. These commanders, they come out with new design space for like new types of decks that have just never been done before. And Brea's Apprentice is also a new card too. On ETBs, you may make a Thopter or sacrifice an artifact. You can even sacrifice Brea's Apprentice itself because it's an artifact. Exile top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card, and has other abilities, but whatever. Burgy's good on both sides. Whenever you cast a spell, any spell, you add 1 red. And then, but the back side here is Hornfeld, Horn of Bounty. Discard a card, exile top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn, so this is the this turn one. So you can play the Horn, or if you have tons of ways to exile cards already, you can play Burgy and help with the mana acceleration there. Chandra, Torch of Defiance. The main part is the exile top card of your library. You may cast, so remember this is the cast trigger there. If you don't, you may cast that card, so you have to do it right away. You can't even do it till end of turn. You got to choose yes or no. And if you don't, it does 2 damage to each opponent, so it's still good. Yeah, so the restrictions are kind of crazy. So sometimes they let you play till end of turn, or you have to just decide right there and then if you want to cast it. So that's those spells. And then Oracle's Vault. Here, this is really cool. I love this card. I think I have another deck, but I forgot which deck it's in because I have so many decks nowadays. But Oracle's Vault, pay 2, exile top card of your library until end of turn. You may play that card. Put Brick Counter. If you have 3 Brick Counters, exile top card of your library until end of turn. You may play this card without paying its mana cost, and you'll only activate if you have 3 or more Brick Counters. So you get to play for free. So the longer you have Oracle's Vault out in play, the freer things will get. Well, it gets free after 3 Brick Counters, but you know what I'm talking about. Abbot of Carol Keep. So now these are the activated ability ones. So let's move these over here. And now we have the triggered or ETB spell. Abbot of Carol Keep. The important part is when it enters the battlefield, exile top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. So same play, but only end of your turn. Layla, I think it's Layla, the Blade Reforged, brand new in Commander 2021, super cool card, and it's got really relevant 2 abilities. I mean, it's got haste, that's a relevant ability, I guess. So when it attacks, exile top card of your library, you can play that card this turn. So it has haste, so you could just bam, snap in, exile top card of your library with a trigger, and play it to the end of turn. And then when you exile one or more cards from your library and or your graveyard, put +1/+1 counter on Layla. So you play Layla on turn 3, haste, bam, you exile a card, then you get +1/+1 counter. So it comes to 3/3 haste. Super cool. It is kind of fragile because you just might have you have to take it into the red zone to do it, but it's pretty. Hopefully it gets pretty big because you don't have to attack with it. You exile other stuff and just grow it, and then eventually it gets so big you can just attack with it. Theater of Horrors. I love this card. I used to play this in Limited. This is a very powerful card in Limited back in Round Allegiance. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library, right? So that clause will trigger a Leela right away. And during your turn, if an opponent lost life, you may play cards exile with Theater of Horrors. So this is another weird restriction is that anytime you exile a card, you got to put under Theater of Horrors because you gotta need to know if it's exiled with Theater of Horrors. And then when an opponent loses life, then you on your turn. Says during your turn, then you play those cards, and then you pay 3 in a red to deal 1 damage. I know, cards are crazy. Vance's Blasting Canyon. If you upkeep, exile top card of your library. Boom. If it's not a land card, you may cast that card this turn. So usually it says you may play that card this turn, but non-land. This is it's a weird wording, but it is what it is. And then when you cast your third spell turn, you may flip this, which I've actually never flipped it to Spitfire Bastion. Right there, deal some damage, bolt people. Super sweet. Okay, so those are just regular exile on top of the cards. These are other ways you exile cards via Foretell, Adventures, and etc. like that. Dream Devourer. So each non-card in your hand has Foretell. Its Foretell cost equals its mana cost reduced by 2. So you foretell cards. When you foretell cards right here, don't forget your token so you know what it is. You foretell a card right there. It's in exile, and then you may play the card. When you play the card in exile, Prosper will trigger, and then you get your treasure. So Dream Devourer turns all your cards in your hand with 2 foretell cards. Let's put this token back here. Poison the Cup has foretell in it. Destroy target creature. And then you have your adventure creatures, just super cool. You can play Battle Display. Usually you play the spell first, and then it goes on adventure. When it goes on adventure, it goes into exile. Don't forget your token again on adventure. And then when you play the creature side right here, play the creature, you get your it's cast from exile, and Prosper will generate that token right there. Ember Shieldbreaker, otherwise known as a Soul Ring Killer, which I have destroyed turn 1 Soul Ring with it. My opponent has played turn 1 Soul Ring. I played turn 1 Battle Display right here, destroy target artifact, and they just cried because they kept a hand with land Soul Ring, and they had 1 land for 4 turns. Don't bank on your Soul Ring staying alive because there's 1 mana red spells that kill it. Bone Crusher Giant needs no introduction. You should know what it does because if you play Standard, it's really good. But if you don't, it does good stuff. Murderous Rider, kill some planeswalkers or creatures. Again, the spell half doesn't trigger Prosper, but the creature half does. So always try to play the spell, then the creature. Unless you're desperate for a creature, then play the creature. All right, another way to do it is get Cascade. Right here, Wild Magic Sorcerer. The first spell you cast from exile each turn has Cascade. So it turns 1 exile spell into 2 exile spell. Makes 2 treasures from Prosper. Super cool here. Then another Cascade spell, Bituminous Blast. I know it's a very expensive removal spell. Costs 5. Deals 4 damage to target creature. But it does have Cascade. The Cascade is playing from exile. Right there. So Cascade here. Let's put these Cascades on another row here. Running out of room, right? Too many cards. Then you have your Suspend. Suspend is cast from exile. I know, all these weird ways you can cast from exile. Profane Tutor, why not? It's got Suspend. I mean, it sucks that your opponents know that you're about to get a Demonic Tutor in 2 turns, but hey, it triggers Prosper, so we got to play in the deck. Wheel of Fate here. Actually, let's put this right here. Let's move this. Bam. Right in the middle again. Wheel of Fate. Here, Prosper, we'll just let Prosper hang out in the corner right there. Wheel of Fortune, 4 turns. Oh, I love this card. This is a new card from Modern Horizons 2, Dothy Voidwalker. It's just done insane things. And it's also Graveyard Hate. So let's actually read it. Shadow. It's basically unblockable. If a card we put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, instead exile with a Void counter on it. So it's basically a Leyline of Void on a creature form. The cool part is, so now you got to separate it because of these Void counters. You can sacrifice Dothy Voidwalker, choose an exile card an opponent owns with a Void counter on it. You may play it this turn without paying its mana cost. So if you exile an Eldrazi or Blightsteel Colossus, boom. right there. Actually, you can't do Blightsteel Colossus. Blightsteel Colossus never goes to the graveyard. Eldrazi's do. There we go. Oh, I forgot. This section is the steal your opponent's stuff. So actually, let's just put these back over here. Steal your opponent's stuff. Dauthi Voidwalker. I love this card. I think it's my favorite card to steal your opponent's stuff and does graveyard hate. Direfleet Daredevil. It's like a Snapcaster for your opponent's stuff. And then you may, you know, this is an additional clause that hasn't come up yet. You may cast that card this turn. So you choose an instant sorcery. And you can cast the card this turn. And then another thing is you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast a spell. If the card we put in the graveyard this turn, exile it. So this is like Snapcaster, Mage. Gives it kind of like a pseudo flashback, except for you can spend mana of any type. Type is different than color. Type gets you snow mana and stuff like that, and gives you, I think, gives you colorless mana. I know it's weird between type and color. Right here, Grenzo, Havoc Grazer. I love this card too. Whenever creature you control deals combat damage to a player, so hopefully you can get, you know, sneak some of these guys in. You go target creature. That doesn't really matter. What really matters is exile top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card, spend mana as though it was mana of any color to cast it. See? I know it's weird. Type or color. Valki is good in the early game because when it enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. Each opponent exiles a creature card they reveal this way until Valki leaves the battlefield. Then you choose a creature card, exile a Valki. With converting cost X, Valki becomes a copy of that card. When Valki becomes a copy of a card, it loses all of its abilities. I believe this ability still is attached to the triggered card, so when the Valki dies, you know, it'll come back to the owner's hand. But when it copies something, it doesn't like retain this copy ability. But what's important is the backside. Again, the backside. Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter. When ETBs, you get an emblem. You may play cards exile with Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So what Tybalt does is exile top card of each player's library, bam, for +2. And even if Tybalt dies, his emblem sticks around, so you still cast those cards no matter what. Or you exile an target artifact creature and then cast it later on. And then -8, which probably I've never done either, exile all cards from all graveyards, add 3 red. So really cool way to exile your opponent's stuff. I think you exile your stuff too, right? I believe so. Let's look again. Exile top card of each player's library. Yeah, you exile your stuff too. So you get to exile 4 cards. Super sweet. Gonti, right here, look at the 4 cards of target player's library. You can cast it later on. That is super sweet. Now, the epitome of exiling opponent's top card of opponent's library and playing them. Atali, right here, even came in Commander 21. You may exile, then you may cast any number of spells from among them without paying the mana cost. So you got to cast it right away. You can't just wait. But you can choose which order to cast it in. Now, my super favorite of all favorites, Prater's Grasp. Let's read this one. Search target opponent's library for a card. Exile it face down. Right? You steal their card, steal their Blightsteel, steal whatever you want. Cyclonic Rift, Expropriate, anything you want. Then a player shuffles their library. You may look at and play that card as long as it remains exiled. So you cast Prater's Grasp, you get some insane bomb, or you get Demonic Tutor. It doesn't even matter what you get, but you get something cool. Then you could just, bam, play it anytime. Super sweet. You find some prisoners. This is a new D&D card. I know the name sounds funny because you find some prisoners, whatever. You choose one, destroy target artifact, and the next one is exile top 3 cards of target opponent's library. Sweet, choose one of them. So remember that when you exile cards, they stay exiled forever. So if they brainstormed or they vampiric tutor, you find some prisoners. It's an instant too. Don't forget that. And then you just take the card that they just like vampiric tutored. So it's a good anti-vampiric tutor card. Choose one of them. And then to end the next turn, you may cast. You may play that card, not cast, and you may spend mana of any color to cast it. So sweet card, messes up their tutoring. Fevered Suspicion, new card here. This is on the high end of CMC because usually, as I mentioned before, it's a low CMC deck. But it's got 6 black red, so it's giant 8 mana card. But the cool part is each opponent exile cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. So you'll get 3 non-land cards if you have 4 opponents. Or 3 opponents. You may cast any number of spells from among those non-land cards without paying their mana cost. 3 free cards, possibly more. I don't know how you get more, but it's worded as if you could get more. Because maybe there'll be a land on one side, and then a mold double face card, non-land on the other side, so who knows. And then they rebound. You can do it again next turn. Sweet. 6 cards. Super sweet. Hurl Through Hell. This is a card that I just absolutely love the design of. It's an instant, exile target creature. Boom. That even that's good enough. But until the end of your next turn, you may cast that card, and you may spend mana as a mana of any color. So you get the creature. Even if you have to exile Blightsteel, it's fine. Like you might not have the 11 mana or 12 mana to cast it, but here if you exile something cheap, you can cast and get it back. Chaos Wand. This is super chaotic, of course. I love this card. You exile, target opponent exile cards from top of the library until they exile instant sorcery. Cast that card without paying its mana cost. And this card kind of spiked because of Prosper, but Stolen Strategy. Now this is a repeatable opponent exiling, just like Chaos Wand. Here, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of each opponent's library. Until the end of the turn, you may cast non-land cards from among them. Those exiled, you may spend mana of any color. So you do it repeatable over and over again. So this is kind of like a win con right here. So protect this with your life. Right there. So Stolen Strategy. So these are all your opponent's ones. These are all yours. So the goal is to go through your deck quickly, get to the good cards here, get to the Praetor's Grass right there, and just start like using all their stuff and hurting them with it. And then along the way, remember you still have your Commander Prosper right here that creates a bunch of treasure tokens for you to help you keep rolling on casting things. So that is the castings part of the deck tech. Now we get to go through the boring part, but not quite yet. Treasure theme. So Dockside Extortionist. I mean, you would put this in a non-treasure deck anyway. So Dockside's Dockside. Kalane, Reclusive Painter. So this is a new card. The reason I wanted to add some new D&D cards. So Kalane doesn't have to be in the deck, but when ETBs create a treasure, and then other creatures you control enter the battlefield with additional +1/+1 counter on them for each mana from a treasure spent to cast them. So if you cast your creatures Dockside with treasure mana, it could be up to like a 3/4. So it's a cool way to use your treasure. Zorn, does a +1 treasure. So if you create one or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. So if you make 1 token from Prosper, you can make 2 tokens from Prosper. So you have Prosper and Zorn on the battlefield, you'd go crazy. Make 2 tokens, and then you keep on going on. Grim Hireling, another cool card from the D&D Commander set, is when 1 or more creatures you control deal damage to a player, create 2 treasures, 2 right here. And then you could pay a black, sacrifice X treasure, and kill things with it. -X. Stormkiln Artist. I love this card from Strixhaven. When you cast an instant sorcery spell, which you have lots of, you create a treasure. Goldspan Dragon just doubles your treasure mana. Super good here. And then this isn't technically a treasure synergy. This is an artifact synergy, but it's basically just here for treasures. Marionette Master. Fabricate 3. So you usually I put 3 +1/+1 counters instead of making 3 servos. Then when an artifact you control is put in the graveyard, treasures tokens do go in the graveyard before they disappear. Graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. So this is a win con as well. You stack a treasure, deal 4 damage. And the last treasure synergy is Treasure Vault. We're just putting it in there for funsies. I have never sacrificed Treasure Vault. I feel bad about sacrificing lands. I know it's not like XX tap, create X treasures. XX tap, sack Treasure Vault, create X treasures. Remember, it's an artifact land, so it can be blown up by artifact destruction. Indolem. This is technically not treasure synergy, inspiring statuary, but gives your non-artifact spells like improvise. So it lets your treasures that Prosper generate tap for mana or mana to cast spells, but without actually sacrificing themselves. So super good here. Then we have our other fare here. You got your removal spells, Vandal Blast, again, super good at destroying artifacts. Rakdos Charm, Graveyard Hate, Artifact Hate, and then if somebody's going infinite with their creatures, like Infinite Creature Hate. Such a versatile card. I love this. Is one of my favorite Rakdos cards. Always include like every Rakdos deck I have. Feed the Swarm. This in Chaos Warp are the only 2 ways to get rid of enchantments. It is what it is. You're playing Rakdos. You gotta deal with it. But you can destroy creatures in a pinch too. Haggard Mauling, Modal Double-Face card, destroy target creature. Pretty easy. Right there, Shadow Skull Smashing. Destroy some more creatures. Very good. Chaos Warp, destroy, or just shuffle back in a permanent. Not really destroy. This and Feed the Swarm, remember, only 2 ways to destroy enchantment. So use them sparingly if you're playing against an enchantment deck or something like that. Toxic Deluge, the best black removal spell out there. Blasphemous Act, the best red removal spell out there. Of course, you have your utility spells like Demonic Tutor. I know you have Profane Tutor, but Demonic Tutor is much better, of course. Agadeem's Awakening, get things back. But again, I'm playing a lot of mold double face cards in this deck. Like I think 4, maybe less than 4. Who knows? Yeah, 4. Because I do need a lot of lands because I'm casting a lot of spells in a turn. But I still want utility from the lands if I need them. So Agadeem's Awakening right there, and Valakut Awakening, double Awakening. Things are awakening right here. So those cards right there. Some other protection spells like Lightning Greaves here, Swiftfoot Boots, running out of room here. Then you have ramp spells. We'll go through them real quick. We are playing Rakdos, so we don't have the best ramp, but we got Solemn, Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, Arcane Signet, Mind Stone, Rakdos Signet, Talisman. So a lot of artifact ramp here. Hopefully artifacts don't get blown up. Then the lands, dual lands, Luxury Street. Always have these. If you're a Commander player, you need to get a play set, or just not play set, a set of 10 of these from Commander Legends and Battle Bond. They're the best lands. Come in, play untapped. They don't have basic land types, but they're super good. So you always have Command Tower, Luxury Suite, some of the dual lands here, fetch lands, Fable Passage. Bojuka Bog, always have Bojuka Bog in every black deck. Cabal Coffers, Overboard combo right there. We're not really concentrating on that combo, but you know we have it just in case. Castle Lock Thwain. Then we have this seldomly used land, Spine Rock Knoll, but it's got Hideaway. When ETBs, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile one of them, face down, put the rest on the bottom of your library, add 1 red, and then Hideaway comes into play tapped. Even though it's part of the ability Hideaway, it doesn't say on the card. It does say on the card. It's weird. And then you pay a red and tap. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if an opponent was dealt 7 or more damage this turn. So it lets you play more exiled cards. Basic lands from Adventures of Forgotten Realm. All right, this is the deck. So I'm gonna shuffle this up. But before I shuffle this up, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new videos. Oh, and I also have the deck list and TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. I'm going to shuffle this deck up. I'm actually going to have to shuffle 3 other decks up because we're going to steal some cards from other decks. And then we'll do some Goldfish. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Prosper, turn 1. That's right. We have our 3 friends, Queen Marchesa, Mardu, Izzet, Niv Mizzet, Prune, and then Omnath, Locus of Creation, minus black. I don't know what that's called. I call it the Omnath color. All randomized, all 100 card decks, right? Real decks, ready to begin. Randomize. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. So as with all 4 color commanders, we definitely want to try to get out in turn 3. Want a 2 mana ramp right there. I know we're not playing green, so 2 mana ramp is a little harder to get in these colors, but that's why I played extra talismans and Rakdos Signets and whatever's. So we got 7 cards. We do have our 2 mana ramp, tons of lands, but that's okay because Prosper will get us some card advantage right there. So let's start here. We'll just play our. I usually play this last because I have 1 of each land. So we'll play our swamp since we're playing tons of black cards in our hand right here. Then go turn 2. Yeah, because if you draw like tons of mountains in a row, you might want to make this Blight Step. But if you keep drawing swamps, you want to make Seer Step. All right, turn 2. More lands. Magical. We'll just play this, actually. Talisman of Indulgence. Okay, so this is on track for turn 3 Prosper. That's exactly what we want. Jessica's Will. Ooh, this is sweet with turn 3 Prosper. Remember, to get both sides of Jessica's Will, you have to have your commander. So don't cast it now unless you need a red burst of mana, but we got tons of black cards, so it's not really helpful. So we'll play our mountain, even out our lands. So we'll just put this here in our land pile. And play our turn 3 Prosper. Sweet. And then at the beginning of our end step, exile top card of the library. Right there is a mountain. All right, we'll exile that. And then we have our turn 4. So this is the interesting thing is when I played Prosper a couple times, I kind of misplayed Prosper because I forgot the trigger. I forgot that I played my land before I played this land. Always, before you make any game actions, take your time and see what cards you've exiled or what you can exile. Because you might be able to exile a land off Jessica's Will and get the Prosper trigger. And it becomes like a Lotus Cobra land. So what we'll do is, we have a land here. We'll play it. From exile, we'll get a treasure. Bam. Instant Lotus Cobra. Even better, it doesn't float in our mana pool. It's permanent treasure. Okay. So now we'll just hold off on these lands in our hand. Now we cast Jessica's Will. Let's assume our Marchesa player has 5 cards. Niv probably has 5 cards. They probably all have 5 cards, at least. They probably have 6 cards sometimes, maybe 7. Let's just say 5 cards, right? So our Jessica's Will, we're just gonna tap this, tap all our basics here. Tap all our basics to play Jessica's Will. Use both sides, right here. I don't have room for my graveyard on the screen, but it's there, Jessica's Will. Got 5 red mana floating, and then we exile 3 cards. And this is play until end of this turn. So, here. Okay, Mizzix's Mastery, Lightning Greaves. You find some prisoners. All right, sweet. Okay, so these cards we could play with our Jessica's Will mana. So what we'll do is we will cast Mizzix's Mastery to get Jessica's Wills back. Right, we'll go down to 1. We'll put this on the stack, exile and cast Mizzix's Mastery, get a treasure. Right here. And then exile target card if it's instant sorcery, or that's an instant sorcery, which is going to be our Jessica's Will. Right here, we'll exile that. And then we'll copy it and make cast copy. So the casting of the Jessica's Will doesn't count as Prosper trigger because you're casting a copy. So we'll put that in the graveyard, cast Jessica's Will again. We'll go up 5 more mana up to 6, and we'll exile 1, 2, 3 cards. Remember the timing restriction here. These are till end of turn. We already played our Prosper one. We got 6 mana, 10 mana total. Remember it's turn 4. What we'll do is we'll play our Dockside Extortionist, of course, with our 2 Jessica's Will mana. Let's say they have 4 artifacts total. Sounds about right because we're playing, artifact here. Let's say on the worst case scenario we have, we'll play Dockside, the creature doesn't die. 3, so we'll make 3 treasures. So let's consolidate this stuff. Dockside will trigger and make 1 treasure, and then make 3 more treasures, so we have 6. We will consolidate here. All right, there's 6 treasures. Okay, what else can we do? We can play Lightning Greaves here. I don't know what else we can do right there. So we definitely want to play these because these go away at the end of the turn. We'll play Lightning Greaves. Actually, before we play Lightning Greaves, let's play some, you find some prisoners, exile more cards. Right there, you find some prisoners. Let's read this card carefully here. Exile top 3 cards of target opponent's library. Choose one of them until the end of your next turn. So this is this turn, and then we have a next turn pile. We'll choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, Omnath. So we'll choose 3 cards. When we cast this, here we'll make another treasure. So we'll choose 3 cards from Omnath. Have all these tokens for Omnath here. 3 cards here. Put these back. What else? Rampaging Baloth and Courser of Krufix. Gosh, what do we want to do? Baloth sounds amazing. Let's just take the best card here. These remain exiled, so these are gone forever from Omnath. And this is till next turn. So we don't have to commit now. We can commit next turn. We can cast our Lightning Greaves, actually. Yes, cast our Lightning Greaves. It only costs 1 mana total. Right here. So we'll just use 2 of our Jessica's Will mana. Make another treasure here. I feel like we're not even going down on mana ever. Here. See. And then what we can do is commune with lava for a bunch. Let's just do it. Right here we have 10 mana. I swear, I feel like we gained mana somehow. Oh no, we had 12 mana. Yeah, we have 10 mana. So let's commune with lava for 8, which will make another treasure back again. But we'll commune with lava for 8. We'll keep this thing exiled permanently, and this is our next turn pile. So we'll just play this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all this is our next turn pile here. That was a sweet turn. We can equip Dockside, keep it alive. Oh, 8, 9, 10. We have even more mana. My bad. Let's just make it even 10. Just like Jimmy from Game Nights. There we go. Even 10. All right, that was a sweet turn 4. Let's go turn 5. I don't know how we could beat that one. Oh, I forgot, before turn 5, we do our Prosper. That's next turn as well. Now we go to turn 5. You untap here. Here, draw a card. Okay, Toxic Deluge. Fortunately, we can't play our Baloth before we play our land. I mean, we can, but essentially we can't do anything else from Exile. So let's just hold off on that. Let's do this. This is like free. Ember Shieldbreaker. We'll cast the Battle Display from Exile. Put it back into Exile with Adventure. Right there. It's on Adventure. Back into Exile. Free treasure. Tap this for that. It's like a free spell. Sweet. Actually, before we do that, let's reverse. Take back these. Oh, wait, I still have one. Before we do that, let's cast our Stormkiln Artist, which would give us, make it even super free. So let's just tap 4 here. And then we'll make a treasure from that one. And then we'll play this one by tapping our Talisman, taking a point, I guess. We could have done that better without taking a point. We'll cast that, make 2 treasures. So we can make super free mode. Okay. So any spell we cast, we make 2 treasures. Any regular card we cast, like Voidwalker, make 1 treasure. So Voidwalker is free, not free, but costs 1 black. We pay 2. We play Voidwalker. We make 1 treasure back from Prosper. See what else we can do. We play a land that we have not played. No, let's play an untapped land. Cabal Coffers. Oh man, these lands are horrible. Treasure Vault. Right there. Make a treasure. Treasure Vault makes a treasure. How flavorful. Okay, now we have 5 lands. What can we do here? We got Hagra Mauling here. No, we'll play this card here. We can't play Tali. That's just gone. Hagra Mauling's gone. These lands are probably gone. Baloth is just totally gone. Let's just forget about this. Return this back to Omnath. Sorry, guys. Too many good cards to play. Wild Mage Sorcerer. I mean, we could play Direfleet Daredevil. Let's see what kind of card. Let's pretend. Let's take a sneak at Niv Mizzet. What kind of card we could play from the graveyard. Let's say they pondered first turn. Right? Let's say they have a ponder in their graveyard here. Direfleet Daredevil. We could play that. -2 here when we play it. +1. Direfleet Daredevil, we'll play Ponder here. We'll tap this because we tap mana of any color. Play Ponder, +2 here, so we could Ponder. Return this back to our Niv deck. Oops, here, we'll just do that. Here, we start our hand, by the way, which doesn't even matter. We have an extension hand. We'll Ponder real quick here. We could light up the stage. So what we'll do is we'll just keep it like this. Oracle's Vault. Here, light up the stage. We'll draw light up the stage in our hand. Like it really matters our hand right now because we're just like living in riches. This is in the battlefield. Well, we can't cast these. We'll just cast Wild Mage Sorcerer for 4. We'll go down to 1 treasure. We'll get another treasure from here. Cast first spell you cast from Exile. Each turn has Cascade. We pass our turn. Here, we can't play. We can play light up stage. Let's just pass our turn here. Turns our turn. This stuff remains Exile forever. End of our trip to land. We have all these things. We are just popping off. As you can see how this deck works, like once you start going off, you make treasures. You keep going. Like the most important card here. These are all exiled here. My God, some crazy exiled cards. These are cards that are exiled. Jessica's Will is amazing. Dockside Extortion is amazing. That's why the cards are very expensive. You can see how this deck goes. Like our hand just keeps filling up. We're not even using any cards in our hands. We just keep on trying to exhaust cards from our temporary zone. Next turn you can play this. You play a spell, you get Cascade by playing more spells. Right there, you play this card, you Cascade into this card. You make some treasures, like Stormkiln Artist. Like this stuff becomes super free. So anyways, you see how this deck works. It's super fun. I really enjoyed it. Sorry I couldn't cast my Rampaging Baloth from Omnath. It's just there's too many fun things to do. And it's really cool because the game always changes because you have different opponents every time. Take their cards and all that such. I love making treasure tokens. Anyways, if you enjoy this deck tech, this gold fishing, give the video a thumbs up. Smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for my new videos. I have the deck list and TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. Help support the channel. And as always, have a wonderful day.